Doreen Granpeesheh is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen. Amanda is here. Amanda, you missed it at the top of the show. We were looking for you, and I said she comes a little bit later. But we're thrilled that you're here with your blue hearts. She says, I need tips on how to address a BCBA who is overworked. I have the most amazing RBT, but the BCBA isn't giving enough attention to my son's programming. She is assigned goals, but not being specific, so it leaves the RBT to interpret how the goals should be run instead of her modeling. During supervision, little to no feedback is given, even when we are looking at her for direction. Help. Bless you, Amanda. I think this is a really common tale.
So I guess I have a few different thoughts about this. And I, believe me, I'm very, very compassionate to clinicians who are overworked.
Yes.
There's no question in my mind. But so I feel bad for clinicians who really are overworked and exhausted. But I want to say that, you know, I was a clinician for, I still am a clinician, but I was a full-time clinician for many, 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 many years, right? And I would continuously see patients for, I don't know, 2/3 of my day for a really long time, and I loved it. It did not exhaust me, it rejuvenated me. It wasn't the thing that made me feel overworked. In fact, you know, it's so funny, Shannon, because every time I'm like, you know, we're getting older and I'm tired and I don't know like if I want to get heavily back into certain things or not. And then I get involved with a patient, like, or I'll just sit with it, and I don't know how time flies. It's still the most fun thing in my life is to help families, talk to patients, see kids. When the very few patients that I currently see, I'll go and I'll spend 2 hours with a child, and I just am like fully excited when I leave because of one single thing they did that we all cheered for, right? So I just don't think that, I think our jobs are very rewarding. And I don't know if what's happening here is being overworked or just not knowing how to give detailed feedback. I see a lot of BCBAs who come out of school, and remember, this is a very popular field now, and there's a big shortage of BCBAs. So these are young folks who've received a master's degree and they have very little experience with kids or patients. And they come into this world, and maybe some of them have not even been an RBT before, or they've not even been a behavior technician. And they come in and they sit and they tell the other people what to do, and they don't really know in detail how to deal with the issues that might come up or how to, you know, the detail of it. So it could be just a lack of knowledge, lack of experience. And the worst case scenario is lack of caring. So, I mean, sometimes this is also a very lucrative master's degree. There are not that many master's degrees that you can get where you're going to be immediately offered a position which will pay you higher than 6 figures. So that could also be. What I suggest you do is you talk to your BCBA and just say, I know you might be tired, and you know, of course, as parents, Shannon has always said, one of the things Shannon always used to do also when you had clinicians working with your child was be very caring for them, reward them, tell them how much they mean to you, give them gifts, you know, welcome them into your home, and all of that should, no matter what you should be doing, because we're all one team, and it's lovely to have BCBAs and RBTs who are very happy working with your child. But at the same time, you know, it's not your job to take care of your BCBA. So sit down with the BCBA and say, I feel like my RBTs, the people on the team need a little bit more guidance. Yeah. And would you please give that guidance to them in the form of further detail? you know, and see what happens. You'll either have someone who's going to immediately say, absolutely no problem, I can show them the detail, or you're going to have someone who might become a little defensive, and that would be an indication that they don't know how to give the guidance. Yeah. And so I think that's very important, and you should definitely, you know, confront it and talk to them nicely.
And she added that this is BCBA with 16 years experience, but that before this, the entire experience was in assessments only.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big difference, right? It's like you need to sometimes, like it's interesting when I am seeing my very like children who need a lot of support and guidance, I'm not necessarily going to look for who was the, you know, BCBA that had the, you know, the most knowledge. I look at my folks who were with me working for over 30 years, whether or not they had a BCBA, I don't care.
Right.
And it's about their experience with multiple children and having been in the field of actually administering therapy for 30-somewhat years.
Yeah. It's the wild, wild west out there. And it always was in terms of, you know, when my son started to get therapy, I guess there were a couple of BCBAs, but it wasn't a really widely, you know, there weren't BCBAs everywhere. Now you walk and you trip over BCBAs, even though there's still not enough of them.
Not enough, right?
Right? But it wasn't, at that time, you didn't have to have a BCBA on your case when my son started. And then, you know, we were moving towards insurance, and they said, a lot of people said, we're not going to pay for it unless there's a certain level of expertise. It's always with a good idea, right?
That's so true.
Always the good idea. That makes sense. Well, we want, if we're going to pay for it, we want to know that there's a certain level of expertise. But now, in the last couple of years, I see that universities have really been pumping out the BCBAs because the field needs them so desperately. But a lot of times the experience working with autism isn't there. They have experience doing something else, and working with children, the experience is not there.
Or just, or really no experience. I mean, I'm hiring BCBAs right now for some of the, I'm trying to help set up some clinics in the Middle East.
Yes.
And they're very short on BCBAs, so they will hire BCBAs literally straight out of school, like as soon as they become a BCBA. And I love these guys, but I'm having some of the experienced RBTs train them.
Yes. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
Which is the flip of what it should be, but this is what I'm hearing a lot of. There are some amazing BCBAs out there. There are some people who are on their way to becoming amazing BCBAs. There are some people who've come into the field and don't have the experience.
Right.
And so it does become incumbent upon us as parents to kind of take a look at, what do I have?
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, the education matters, the material they teach you is very good. The experience matters, but the one thing that matters probably the most is the person must be rejuvenated from this work, not exhausted from it.
There we go.
That is the thing. I mean, you know, Peter, of course, sometimes he and I are working on a case together right now, and this is a therapist who Shannon knows very well as well. And the guy, like, the level of excitement we both have at clinic
I'm sure
is
you guys
ridiculous.
light fires together with your excitement.
Because we're both so rejuvenated by this work, you know? So
yeah, it's amazing. Okay, we have a lot of discussion coming in. Susie has said what? She's picking herself up off the floor because you said you were almost 60. No way. Yes, I know. This is why I always say that there's a painting aging somewhere under a bed somewhere instead of, because how long have you been married now?
I think it's like 12 years.
12 years.
Something.
And when she got married, the picture of her in her wedding photo with her husband, you look like you were 16. You seriously did. And there was a picture of you with your mother there, and I thought if we just photoshopped my picture in there, I could be the grandmother, your mother would be, you know, like the mother, and you'd be the 16-year-old.
Thank you.
And I'm not that much older than you, but she looks this good. I think it's because she stays young, working with young people. So I'm going to go teach a kindergarten class right after this. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. So, but we have a lot of people writing in about weight issues now and about gaining weight after your child is diagnosed.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have 12 years worth of videos here that you can watch my weight go whoop, 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 whoop,
Well, and
whoop.
me too. I mean, I gotta tell you, like each of you, I think it's really, really important to find the diet that works for you, and then to like get a coach or someone who can help you through it. And different things work for different people, and the body is really interesting. And so, you know, please don't get discouraged. I see Dark Angel has written that, you know, I have over 30 pounds since my son got diagnosed last year, which is very common. You know, when we have extreme, one of my friends lost a parent, and honestly, she gained tons of weight after that. And I think it's just because we're trying to it's the reinforcer thing, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to reinforce yourself because all of a sudden your circumstances have become more aversive.
Yeah. Well, and if other reinforcers have gone, you go to the things that you know work.
Yeah.
And I would lovingly say to all of you, don't beat yourself up. When your willingness is there, you'll find the thing that is
Absolutely.
right to do, and that it is possible to lose that weight. I want to lovingly say to all of us, myself included, that this last time I let it get way out of control, and before I let it stop, because that's just where I was at. And I'm on my way back down now, but it's not easy, and the older you get, the harder it is. But it is possible, and it feels so much better.
Oh my gosh.
Feels so much better. We inherited a dog during COVID because my dear friend Joanne Laura passed away, and she has a dog that when I got the dog was so overweight that it could barely walk. It's lost weight.
Yes.
But you know, when we would start, and we have to carry the dog up the stairs at night because it can't go up the stairs itself, and we were wheezing at the top of the stairs carrying this thing. And now I can pick up this guy. Now he's lost weight, I've lost weight too, and we jog up the stairs, and it's like, what happened?
I know.
We're not carrying 2 extra bowling balls with us.
I know. It's amazing.
It's so much easier.
It is. And I saw Parker's comments about,
Yes.
you know, health and those issues. And Parker, let me tell you, I lost weight over the last year because my back was hurting so much. And I tried so many different things, and I thought, you know what, let me just lose some pounds and see if it helps. And it was a tremendous difference for me in regards to my back pain. So there's always, when there's a health issue, and I know, Shannon, you had kind of a health prompt too. When you have that, you take control of it. Don't feel like someone's forcing you. It's your life, and you can take control of it.
And I also see that Parker said that it's Mexican food that you really like to have. But you know, they've made all kinds of things now that you can have that, like they have even tortilla chips that are grain-free, that are protein.
Yes.
So, you know, there are accommodations that you can make. You know, I see that you have a texture that you like, but it comes down to, you know, what are you willing to be flexible on? Not give up, but what are you willing to be flexible on? If the texture was slightly different, but you would feel better, and not just physically, because you will feel better physically, but you'll also, when you take control of something, you feel better mentally and emotionally, and your self-esteem goes up through the roof.
And also, Parker, what is the food doing for you in terms of immediate feelings? And is there something else that you can do that will replace that feeling that eating the food gives you? Because I think that's, with food, it's really all about how we feel when we eat.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing. I do want to, just before, because I know we're out of time, I do want to say The Good Father.
Yes.
Yeah, please get in touch with me if you're going to be here in January. I will do my very best to see your child.
Okay. And congratulations to Amanda that she is now officially a TACA mentor.
Yay.
And that she can help people work on gut health. Congratulations, Amanda. I know that was something.
You will be an amazing mentor.
Exactly. So that's available to you guys. Don't forget, you can watch Ask Dr. Doreen live every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We hope to see you there.